Today on Yester Kitchen, we are going to celebrate a show that was very popular in the 80s. And we're going to share a recipe from the show's host. You're going to love it. Let's get started. Hey everyone, I'm Jill and this is Yester Kitchen. If you're new here, welcome. It would be an honor to have you join us as we explore retro history through food. And today, we're talking about a TV show in the 80s, crazy popular. You've probably seen it, or at least heard of it. I am talking about Lifestyle of the Rich and Famous, hosted by none other than Robin Leach. The show was on the air from 1985 to 1995, so it had a pretty good run. It was all about highlighting the ultra rich and just showing their opulent life. Now, to be on the show, you had to be worth at least $50 million, which back in the 80s was a lot of money. And America just loved it. They loved seeing all the homes and the yachts and the wine cellars and the parties. And I watched it maybe a couple times. It super wasn't my thing, but I knew how huge it was. And so let me know if you used to watch it. It pretty much was a who's who of the stars and the moguls. And if you watched it, champagne was everywhere, which is why I have champagne in my champagne flute today, which, by the way, these were my wedding toasting glasses. I thought it was quite apropos. So the show was hosted by Robin Leach for 9 out of the 10 years it was on. And he always said that he never lived the life of the people he was interviewing, but he did pretty well. And he created a catchphrase that actually became one of the most popular catchphrases of the 1980s. Champagne wishes and caviar dreams. That was his hello or his goodbye, I can't remember, but it was through the whole show. Champagne was through the whole show. And check this out. I have a cookbook, Celebrity Chefs' Favorite Recipes, with a bunch of celebrity chefs. This was put out by this Campbell Soup Company, and in here is a recipe from none other than Robin Leach for a dish he calls Rich and Famous Chicken. And guess what? It involves a lot of champagne. So I thought, we've got to make this. So let's get started and I'll tell you a little bit more about the show. So this is a layered dish. And if you saw my episode about layered salad, I'll put it up for you. We talk all about how popular layered dishes were in the 80s. And this is no exception. So here we go. I have got a 9 by 13, this might be a little bit bigger, baking pan. And in here I have thinly sliced 2 onions. And you want to just kind of separate them out into rings. Okay. Now we're ready to start the champagne already. So the first thing we're going to do is we've got 2 cups of champagne that we are going to divide and put a little bit in between each layer. So I've already done the math for you. He said to divide it into fifths, which is 6 tablespoons. So I've got 1 measured out. The rest I'm just going to eyeball because it's just champagne, and you could too. So we're going to take our champagne and just kind of sprinkle it right on over our onions. And then we have an herb mixture. It has basil, salt, pepper, oregano, and dry mustard, and all the ingredients will be right down below for you. And we're gonna take a fifth of this. So as you can see, we're gonna take a fifth of each one and put it in between each layer. So just a little sprinkle, like it's not rocket science, it's cooking. So if you're a little off, it doesn't matter, it's all gonna mix together anyway. So now we add our protein, which is chicken. Why not lobster or scallops or something? It was Robin's recipe. And the actual recipe is 1 whole chicken quartered, but that's not really used very much anymore. And if you've watched my show at all, you know how much I love thighs. So an average chicken weighs somewhere between 2 and 4.5 pounds. So I just got a package of thighs. You can use any you want. Just make sure they are on the bone with the skin. And you just start, if you are gonna quarter a chicken, just lay it on down here. I'm just gonna go with the thighs because that is what I love. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to use them all or fit them all, but that's okay because I have plenty of ideas for chicken thighs, so we can always use more later. But I think we're gonna get, whoop, in you go. We're gonna get 8 of them, which is perfect. 8 chicken thighs we go. And now I have a 1/4 cup of melted butter, which is a 1/2 stick. You are gonna brush half of this butter. Set up a little bit. And you're gonna brush half of the butter right over the chicken. And if you're a little less or a little more, don't sweat it. It'll all be right in the end. Then we're gonna do our same thing with the champagne and the herbs. A fifth of the champagne and a fifth of the herbs. This time I'm just gonna sprinkle because I kind of know where I'm at. But you can measure every time. Remember, 6 tablespoons in between each layer. Same thing, sprinkle on. And then we're gonna move on to our next layer. There we go. This layer, we have one 10-ounce package of frozen peas that we've thawed. And they all go in the pool. Every one of them. By the way, my oven is set to 425. So it does cook on high, but we have chicken in the bone. Got a lot to cook through. Okay, peas are in. Guess what we do next? One more round of champagne. Caviar wishes, champagne dreams. Although this recipe does not contain caviar. I love caviar. Little dusting of our herbs. See, you're getting the idea. Next, we come in with 4 carrots, peeled and thinly sliced. And those go right over the top. I just love these little cookbooks. Everybody contributes. Okay, after that, more champagne and more herbs. So sadly, Robin Leach passed away in 2018. He actually started off as a journalist in England, and he covered the United States and England for the gossip column. So it was kind of only a natural progression that he would kind of get into what he got into. He fell into this. Boy, was it a lucky break. Okay, last but not least, 3 potatoes that I have, 3 potatoes that I have thinly sliced. Now, I've had a wet paper towel over them to kind of keep the air out. They did oxidize a little bit, but I think we're gonna be okay. All right, so here's our potatoes. And now, of course, we're gonna finish up that champagne. In it goes. Make all the potatoes very, 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 very happy. And then we're gonna finish up our little herb mixture. Now on top of this, and I'm not sure where we're gonna fit it, but I know we will. We'll be fine. We're gonna make a mushroom sauce. So let me set up this and I'll be right back. Oops, I forgot one thing. What to do with that last half a stick of butter? That goes over your potatoes. So we're just gonna do that really quick last minute. There you go. Doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be on there. And now I'm gonna set up and make that mushroom sauce. Okay, on to our mushroom sauce. Yes, this cooks with a mushroom sauce just like another dish when we highlighted a famous show. If you missed it, check out Morticia Addams. Okay, so we have a half a stick or a 1/4 cup of butter that is already melted in a saucepan. And to that, we are gonna add 4 ounces of mushrooms. Fresh mushrooms. We're actually using fresh mushrooms this time instead of canned or cream of mushroom soup, but that's because we're in the 80s now. And cooks started to embrace the use of fresh mushrooms. And besides that, it works really well in this dish. Okay, so I am gonna let this cook down and we'll be back when that happens. So it's been about 5-6 minutes. It does take some time for mushrooms to cook down, but take a look. They're just all cooked down and sizzling. And I use just straight white button mushrooms. You can use any kind of mushroom you like, but these were really popular in the 80s. So of course I'm using them. Okay, so you wanna just cook them down until they're pretty tender. And then we've gotta thicken our sauce. So here comes 1/4 cup of flour that you wanna just sprinkle on. And you wanna just cook that in there. Just stir it up so all the liquid absorbs all the flour. Make sure it's just really, it's gonna look clunky, but don't worry, we're gonna add liquid and that's all gonna go away. We're just gonna get the thickener started. We add 3/4 of a cup of chicken broth. There, the flour is going, oh yay, you're here. 2 teaspoons fresh lemon juice. Yes, Robin does specify fresh, and so do I. Always use fresh lemon juice. Tastes so much better. 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire. And now, as you can see, our flour is starting to be super happy to get that moisture, but we're giving it a little bit more. Guess what we're adding? Of course, 3/4 cup champagne right into there. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna stir this around so we can get all nice and mixed together, and we're gonna bring it to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, you're gonna keep that boil for 1 minute, then we're gonna turn it off, and then we're gonna pour it over our chicken and get it in the oven. So give me a minute to get this up to boil. So our sauce came up to a boil. I let it boil for exactly 1 minute, and take a look. Here, our sauce is, where are we? Very, very thick. And the champagne and the chicken broth together, I'm telling you, it's just amazing. And now we're just gonna take this sauce and spoon it right over the top. And once we do that, it's gonna bake in an oven for 45 minutes. I think we're gonna be okay with that. And then, it's gonna bake covered we're gonna cover it, bake it for 45 minutes, and then we're gonna take off our foil and we're gonna bake it for another 10. And that's just gonna kind of get everything all browned and happy. So there's our sauce. It seems like a lot, but it's just a simple layered dish. And what you're gonna get at the end, oh, so good, so good. And I would love to hear, like if you did watch Rich and Famous, what your favorite episodes were. There were a lot of stars on there. Now give me a second to cover this and we'll put it right in the oven. All right, so I just grabbed some foil. And off it goes for its little baking nap. Into the oven, 425, 45 minutes, take the foil off, 10 more minutes, and we'll be back. Okay, so it's been just about an hour. Take a look. Everything is just cooked in and baked in, and the mushroom sauce is on top. Guys, this is really good. I mean, seriously. So let's just waste no one's time. Now, there is a lot of sauce that it has made, I'll show you, in the bottom. See, with all that champagne? So you just want to be really careful because it's pretty full. And we're just gonna, whoop, I already have peas escaping. There we go. Look at that. Is that just gorgeous? I mean, it just literally takes chicken and vegetables to a whole new level. You have all this amazing champagne sauce on the bottom to spoon right over. Take a look at this gorgeousness. Uh-oh, then I'm spilling. That's because there's a lot of sauce. Let me put this down. Of course, you'll have far better odds of not spilling because you don't have to show it to a camera. So I'm just gonna dive right in because I already know it's fabulous, but you know, you gotta taste. You guys love it when I taste. I'm just finding there is a place without the bone. Now, of course, this thing is blazing hot. So I'm just gonna do a little piece and try my best to not burn my mouth and talk to you. But it's chicken champagne chicken. You do get from the sauce, you get some of the citrus that we put in, remember, and the spices in there are just fabulous. It's just truly, it is comfort food on a champagne level. So here's what Robin says. Make the dish, and what do you drink with it? What do you think? So here's what I would do. If you want to enjoy this dish in all its glory, get 2 bottles of champagne. 1 bottle will pretty much cover your sauce and your casserole, plus 1 glass for the cook. And the second one, you serve with dinner. So I hope you enjoyed going back in time and talking about lifestyles of the rich and famous and making a dish right from Robin Leach. So let's raise a glass to champagne wishes and caviar dreams. If you would like to explore more dishes from your childhood or just the past, I invite you to subscribe. I release new videos every week. In the meantime, there's some more retro dishes for you. And remember, every dish, even lifestyles of the rich and famous chicken from none other than Robin Leach, has a story. I will see you in the next video.